Dubey sir, you can start.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, friends. I'm going to share a screen. This is a short film about half an hour, produced by Evelyn Blau and directed by Michael Mendiza. It's a series of films. In fact, there are three films, and the title is Beyond Myth and Tradition. And they have collected uh, different talks given by Christie on subjects and then compiled this along with some scenic places and so on. So it's a very beautifully made film. I'm going to share it with you, and after that, after the film is over, we'll have a share our understanding around that. Just bear with me. I'm having little problem, but I hope to get it over. Can you see this, all of us?
Yes, sir. We are able to see that.
Okay.
Sound is low, slightly less. Sir, its volume is less, sir. Dubey, sir,
Now
its volume is less.
it's already
It's it's less, sir. It's very, very less. Volume is.
okay.
Sound is
Okay,
very
let me
slow.
see.
Suppression, control, the discipline, which is the act of learning.
Is it okay now?
No, still it is to be raised.
Over his lifetime, one of the great themes that Krishnamurti addressed was that of freedom, touching upon it again and again, linking it with authority. He spoke of both freedom and authority in a less obvious psychological sense, rather than socially or politically. As far back as 1929, he said that his purpose was to set humanity free, a phrase that to be alive to yourself, not to lean on the insights and truths of others, no matter how profound the teaching, no matter how great the teacher. Our myths and traditions are yesterday's verities. He asked that we look afresh and anew from moment to moment. Why, he asked, do we so readily accept religious or psychological authority, but resist political or social restraints? Krishnamurti on freedom and authority.
So please, as the speaker puts into words, examine that which he says for yourself. Because doubt, skepticism is a great purifier. Most of us are so easily accept things, especially in religious matters and so-called spiritual matters. Please don't accept a thing what the speaker is saying, but try to find out for yourself by carefully listening if you are interested. If you don't treat this as an entertainment, then please listen, doubt, question, ask. You are doubting that which you have created yourself. You are doubting your own ideas, your own conclusions, your own experiences, your beliefs, your faiths. You are doubting so that you find out for yourself what is truth. Truth demands a free mind, a mind that is completely free. To doubt requires sensitivity. If you doubt everything, then this becomes rather stupid. But to doubt with light hand, with a quick mind, with subtlety, then the doubt brings about clarity, energy. And we need energy to go into all these problems, to resolve. Scientists, politicians, the educational people, the religious people, they are responsible, but I know nothing about it, I just follow. That's the general attitude right through the way.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I make myself irresponsible. By delegating responsibility to you, I become irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now we are saying, nobody is responsible except you. Because you are the world, and the world is you. You have created this mess. You alone can bring about clarity. Therefore, you are totally, utterly, completely responsible. And nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that means you have to be a light to yourself. Not the light of a professor or an analyst or a psychologist or the light of Jesus or the light of the Buddha. You have to be a light to yourself in a world that is utterly becoming dark.
Mm-hmm.
That means you have to be responsible. Now, what does that word mean? It means really to respond totally, adequately to every challenge.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot possibly respond adequately if you are rooted in the past. Because the challenge is new. Otherwise, it's not challenge. A crisis is new. Otherwise, it's not crisis. There, that's why. Sir. Responsibility means total commitment.
Total commitment.
Total commitment to the challenge. Responding adequately, completely to a crisis. That is, that the word responsibility means that. To respond. I cannot respond completely if I'm frightened. Or I cannot respond completely if I'm seeking pleasure. I cannot respond totally if my action is routine, is repetitive, is traditional, is conditional. So to respond adequately to a challenge means the me, which is the past, must end. Violence is not only physical, but great deal, much more psychological. When I conform to a pattern, when I'm being allowed to be programmed, you understand? When you tell me what I should do, because for the good of my soul or my psyche or whatever it is, and you become the authority. So when I accept authority, there is violence. Right? Psychological, of course. There is the authority of the computer, the authority of law, the authority of the policeman who says keep to the left or right. If you drive in Europe, you keep to the right. If you right in England or here, which is it? Left? Yes, left. Left. No, right? Right. I haven't driven lately. Yes, I've walked down to the left, walk up the right. That's better. So, violence must exist where, that part of it, where out of my confusion, disorder, I create authority. You understand? I'm confused. I'm disturbed. I want certainty. And you come along, the guru, the priest, the psychologist, the others, and they become the authority. I have created them out of my confusion, my disorder. So I realize as long as there is an authority subjectively, either the experience which I've had the memory of that experience which becomes the authority, follow all this, or the authority of somebody who says, I know, I'll tell you all about it. The nasty, ugly gurus do all this, coining money. They are one of the most rich people in the world. Your evangelists, the churches, the tremendous organizations. They say, have faith, believe, accept. And I am so frightened, I say it's ungullible, I accept. So I am creating out of my disorder authority. If there is order, there is no authority. Because I behave properly, not according to a pattern. So, one of the causes of conflict, disorder, is psychological acceptance of authority. That means, can one live without a single ideal, single authority, so that one lives in great order now, not tomorrow? You are second-hand people. Don't pretend you are not. You are second-hand, sloppy, shoddy people. And you are trying to find something that is original. What is, the reality is original. It's not colored by all the priests in the world. It's original. Therefore, you must have an original mind, which means a free mind. Not an original, maybe a new picture, a new this, that's all coming around. But a free mind. A free mind that can function in the field of knowledge, and a free mind that can look, observe, learn. Now, how do you help another? Or is it not possible to be free? Yeah. Look, I never belonged to anything. I'm no church or no belief, no all that. A man who really wants to find out if there is eternal, the nameless, something beyond all things, he must naturally set aside everything built with the savior, the masters, the gurus, the knowledge, all of it. Are there people to do that? Or will anybody undertake that job? Or is it, you tell me all about it, boy, I'll sit comfortably, and then you tell me.
Yes, that's what goes on.
I say, I won't describe that. I won't tell you a thing about it. That's it. To put it into words is to destroy it. So let us see, if you cannot be free, what are you frightened of? Frightened of authority, frightened of going wrong, but you are completely wrong the way you live. Completely stupid the way you are carrying on. There's no meaning. Follow sir. Deny the spiritual authority of every kind. What are you frightened of? Going wrong spiritually? They are wrong, not you are wrong, because you are just learning. They are the established in unrighteousness. Yeah. And so why do you follow them? Why do you accept them? They are degenerate. And can you be free from all that? Search your mind through meditation, which we'll discuss some time in the time, what it means to be free, what it means to wipe away all the things that people have put on you. Yes, so that you are innocent. Your mind is never hurt, is incapable of being hurt. That is what innocence means. And from that, inquire, let's take a journey from there. From this sense of negation of everything that thought has put together. Because thought is time. Thought is matter. And if you are living in the field of thought, there will be never freedom. Unless this is told, repeated, shown to them. They can talk endlessly about it. This comes first. Then we can read the books. So I have to inquire, when I should inquire, what is freedom? This movement from one corner to the other corner of the field. You see, the field is my consciousness. This whole world is my field. And I move from one corner of this field, psychological field, to another corner, and I call that freedom. Or I choose to move south instead of north, and I call that freedom. So I call choice freedom. I am a Democrat, I choose to become a Republican. But it's the same movement. You're silly enough not to see that. So, is that freedom? You follow me? Does choice bring about freedom? Or where there is choice, there is no freedom. So what is freedom? The question is involved. What is freedom? To move from trap to trap to trap? To move from one kind of misery to another kind of misery? Freedom obviously means totally free, totally free from the whole content of consciousness. The problem of content of one corner is different from another corner, but it's in the same field. And we separate the problems, but it's one problem. Yes? All problems are interrelated, that's clear. My sexual problem, my problem of earning livelihood, my problem of God, it's all one movement of this everlasting search for something or other, of becoming. So, freedom is the ending of completely becoming something. What is the importance of a thought? That is, the word authority, as you know, means the one who originates.
Author.
Author.
Yes.
And these priests, gurus, leaders, spiritual preachers, what have they originated? They are repeating tradition, aren't they?
Oh, yes. Precisely.
And tradition, whether it's from the Zen tradition, the Chinese tradition, or Hindu, is a dead thing. And these people are perpetuating the dead thing. What is behind this acceptance of authority? Is it fear? Fear of going wrong spiritually, of not doing the right thing in order to gain enlightenment, knowledge, and the super consciousness, whatever it is. Is it fear? Or is it a sense of despair, a sense of utter loneliness, utter ignorance? I'm using the word ignorance in the deeper sense.
Yes, yes, I follow.
Which makes me think, there is a man there who says, I'll accept. I don't reason. I don't say, what do you know? We accept where there is ignorance, where reason doesn't function, where intelligence is in abeyance. And you need all that: freedom, intelligence, reasoning, with regard to real spiritual matters. Otherwise, what? Some guru comes along and tells you what to do, and you repeat what he does. You follow how destructive it is, how degenerate it is. That's what's happening. So can we, so this brings up a very important question. Can we educate, can there be an education in which there is no authority whatsoever?
I think Raminder has raised a hand. So please unmute yourself and say something.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Krishna ji was talking about the ending of me, uh, ending of me, self. Can anyone elaborate about that, please?
I would like Harshad Bhai to say something and then I'll say. Harshad Bhai, please
Yeah.
unmute. Yeah.
Yes. Are you able to hear?
Yes, yes.
Are you able? Yes.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Dubeji.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dubeji. I like to answer the question Raminder asked, that what is the ending of me? It means that this sense of me is coming from thinking. And so when the thinking ends, when there is a silence, then there is no sense of I or me, and there is no division between me and you, because there is no me. But I like to make my observation on what Krishnaji said, and Krishnaji speaks very, very passionately against authority in the field of psychology, religion, spirituality. And I think one needs real freedom not to accept any authority. And even we cannot accept what Krishnaji says. And he himself says, don't accept a thing what Krishnamurti is saying. So that can happen only when we are very, very clear and our mind is very silent and we are able to see ourselves, our own thoughts and feelings, how they are arising. So that is very important. This is what Krishnamurti calls choiceless awareness. That means looking in silence, whatever is unfolding in our mind. Now, Krishnaji says something about doubt. And he says doubt and skepticism is a great purifier. But I doubt what Krishnaji says, because who is the entity which is doubting and whom doubting happens? That means if a person is doubting, it means that there is a separation between the entity like observer and observed. It's like when we observe anger, then is there any me which is observing anger? Because anger is me, actually, it comes. So I doubt about this, what Krishnamurti talks about doubting. There is no need, I feel, to doubt, only to watch carefully whatever is happening and negate everything thought has created. That is also what Krishnaji says. And I feel that there is no need to negate, just to watch and let it go. That what Krishnaji calls choiceless awareness, which reveals everything what is happening within us. So if there is an anger is coming, it is seen, not through an entity separate from anger, but anger is seen. And similarly, fear, loneliness, all the problems of psychological nature, when they arising, at that time one needs this awareness to watch clearly. And that watching clearly, it requires freedom. And in such freedom, there is no authority. Even we can say that what Krishnaji says, it I don't feel that way. That I feel a different way. So I don't doubt, because doubting means, to me, it's like throwing a stone in a quiet water, and it creates ripples in the water and watching that. But without doubting, one can watch everything. So in that state, even if a doubt comes, that is seen. Anything which is arising is seen and it goes away. So that is the real freedom. And in this freedom, there is no authority. So that is what I want to say. And Krishnaji says something against tradition, but anything can become tradition. Even what Krishnamurti says can become, and we can repeat what he says, then it becomes a tradition in the name of Krishnamurti. So real thing is to watch moment by moment, whatever is arising, and even what Buddha or somebody else said, we can really read or listen carefully in the present awareness. So then it doesn't become a burden. So the whole thing is this freedom, and there is no need to change the world. You are the world, and when you change, when there is a freedom, whatever you do, it will be good. But trying to change world, it's a waste. I think it's a waste of energy, waste of time, and it creates more conflict. So let us understand ourselves as we are. And when we are able to look at ourselves very, very clearly, there is a freedom. And from that freedom, whatever action comes, they are good action. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Harshad bhai. Thank you. I think I'll just second for what Raminder asked and a little comment on Harshad bhai's what he talked about Christie's talks. I think Raminder, when a state where the thoughts become quiet, where the thoughts are not disturbing in our looking at things. There are no image formation. That state is the state where Krishna has talked about the observer becomes observed. That's the state where the self is totally absent because you are one with what you are looking at. So there is no separation, there is no fragmentation. You are seeing things as they are. That's what he means. Harshad bhai, when Krishna has used different words at different times. So, I mean, this is my understanding. I'm not saying what you said is right or wrong. But I think a doubt means I'm neither accepting nor rejecting anything. But I want to go deeper. I want to find out. So there is a sense of inquiry. And if I have that passion to find out, I'll go deeper into it and then see things depending on my capacity, my interest and so on. So Krishna at times had said curiosity, at times inquiry, at times doubt. But that's what he perhaps means when he says that you must doubt everything, which means you don't accept anything, or at the same time don't reject it. Look into it, go deeper into it. That's what he means. This is what I thought. Mr. Dakshina Murthy, you want to say something, sir?
Good evening, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Yeah.
This is a nice video, and I compliment the administrators and the Beji for putting it across for discussion today. My views are as under. When Krishnaji dissolved the Order of the Star in the East way back in 1929, he has stated very clearly that his mission in life is to set man absolutely and unconditionally free. He also said that truth is a pathless land. So, what is this unconditional freedom? That is what we are trying to address now. For us, most of the time, if we have a choice, we think we are free. Suppose in a given situation, there are, say, 10 alternatives, and you are allowed to choose an alternative of your choice, we think we are free. If somebody is stopping you from choosing that, we say we are not free at all. We don't have the freedom. Well, but we never ask the question, out of the 10 choices, why are we choosing one particular choice? we say we like it, but that depends on our upbringing, our background, our education, our culture, our society, etc. That is nothing but our conditioning. So the so-called choice that you have selected is already a conditioned choice, because your consciousness is full of that conditioning, and based on that conditioning, you have selected a particular choice. Now we know with computers and all how programming is done. So all human beings, Krishnaji has pointed out, we are programmed human beings. We are conditioned when we are born, and that conditioning is going on throughout our life. And ultimately, when we die, we are dying as conditioned human beings. So where is the freedom there? That is the question that Krishnaji was asking. And therefore, the issue is there a possibility of breaking this condition? Unless you break that conditioning, it will not be possible to get that freedom. So, when conditioning has to be looked at, and also you have to find out how to come out of that conditioning, you are the best judge of what conditioning you are having, how it has developed, and how you can come out of that, etc. Than trying to go to a spiritual authority, trying to go to a guru, or trying to go to a priest, because they will not be of any help, because they do not know actually at the grassroots level what your conditioning is. That's why Krishnaji says authority should not be there. He is talking about authority in the physical world, like authority of the law, authority of the policeman, etc. But in the psychological world, there is no authority at all. On the contrary, if there is authority, there is no freedom. So in the psychological field, if you want to have that freedom, if you want to break away from that conditioning, you should not have any authority. That's all from my side, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dakshina Murthy. I think a word about freedom. You know, freedom has many connotations, and I think when Krishna talks about freedom, it's more in the psychological domain, more philosophical, where what he says freedom is not freedom for the self, but freedom from the self. When there is no self-centeredness, that state is freedom. So one has to really look into it a little more deeply to know what freedom is. As he says, that it's only a confused mind which has choices. So these one-liners are very deep-rooted meaning, and one has to read in between the lines to grasp that fully. Yes, this is what I wanted to say. Kamlesh Modak has raised. Yes, Kamlesh, please unmute yourself. Yeah. Unmute. You are muted.
Sir.
Yeah.
Dubey sir, is my voice coming clear, sir?
Yes, it is.
I want to say one thing here. Total wiping of the self may be possible or not. That is not the question. Because we have to keep everything in its right place. Because the memory and all things, they have got their own place. And when they are interfering in particular thing, for particular listening or seeing anything, then they have to be kept aside. So that much freedom is necessary. So we can learn from authorities. JK is also an authority for us because he has a silent mind and everything like that. And he is a spiritual leader, spiritual speaker particularly, I can say. So we can hear all the spiritual personalities, but at the same time, we have to explore into our own psychological aspect and own our psychological workings and see that all what they are saying, if it is true for us or not. I want to say only that thing, that we have to pursue ourselves only. We have to listen to them, see to them, read their texts, read their videos, and grasp from that, and watch what is happening in us, in our self mind itself. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kamlesh. I think
Yeah.
one thing is very important, that I don't know what is that state of no self at all, because I don't know what it is. It becomes too theoretical. But I think if we are aware of conditionings, even one conditioning, if I'm totally aware of it, that is the beginning of freedom.
Sir, I want to add only one thing. If we
Yes.
are free and open to what is coming, and we read JK or any other Kabir or any traditional saint, for that, because we are having some problems with us. So when we are open, something else can come from which is not the part of our self, it is not part of the known. Something from unknown can come into being.
Absolutely.
So we can learn from that.
Yes.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
Harshad bhai, you want to
May
say
I
something?
make a comment?
Yes, please.
Yes, I agree with Kamlesh ji. There is no absolute truth in any statement. So when Krishnamurti says authority prevents understanding, I do not agree completely. It depends on who is speaking and who is listening. And sometimes there is a kind of resonance happens between two people when one person is speaking from the real source and the other person is listening very, very attentively. And it has happened many, many times in the past that people, while listening or reading something, immediately they had got some flash of understanding. So we have to be open to everything. We can learn from nature, we can learn from many different teachers, and also we have to look at our own mind, how it is working with curiosity, energy, attention, all these qualities, sensitivity, all these are very important, and any teacher can help. And it has been a tradition in India, and it says that without a guru, one cannot get an understanding. And I would say partly it is true. Some people get the understanding from a guru, and many people don't get understanding and they just accept. So just accepting what somebody says is not enough. One has to investigate for oneself, as Krishnaji says. Okay, I have finished. Dinesh ji
Thank you,
wants to
Harshad
say
bhai.
something.
Yes, Dinesh ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, are you able to listen to me, sir?
Yes.
Sir,
Yeah.
this entire film has been made by assorting the various shots at the various in the various time frame. One thing we have to understand, we have to go deep in this matter. What really authority is? If we see, when I see a tree, and I am not using my thought and I am not using any image, then automatically the tree becomes authority because I am not there. Only tree is there. So tree becomes authority. In tradition, they have seen that Dattatreya has done 24 gurus. And they have learned from the various plants and various insects and all that. So it automatically it becomes authority. So we have to really go into deep and see the meaning of authority. Suppose the other gentleman was saying about whether if we don't have the conditioning, then there will be a no authority and no this thing. But when I am exploring anything, automatically, if I am free, I am not there, then the other fellow becomes or other thing becomes authority. If I am using my wisdom, I am using my this thing, then I become the authority. So what Krishnamurti is talking, he is just talking about the other extreme of the horizontal field, what he normally says all the time. This is the other extreme. Means authority at the one end and no authority at the other end. But there are in between, there are so many things, so many steps we can say that we have to understand. Suppose in any transaction, suppose I am not using my authority, then but automatically the conditioning of the other gentleman or other fellow with whom I am talking, authority of his conditioning will come into the picture. So we have to understand, is there any such thing which is without authority in normal transactions in worldly affairs? I don't think there is any such transaction which has got no conditioning or this thing. Always there will be a transaction. Yes, what freedom is talking when there is a timeless dimension or if there is a transcendence of thought, then only we can say yes, that dimension is having the freedom. At that dimension there is a freedom available which is beyond this thing, and that is, we can say, unconditional freedom. Otherwise, is there any unconditional freedom available in normal transaction in worldly affairs? I am having my own doubts. We ourselves can see that there is no everybody has got experience of these normal transactions and normal dealing with the people and even with the nature, etc. We can see that always there will be either your, if you say I don't use any spiritual authority, then automatically you will become the authority. You have to find out and you have to do everything. Then it means you are using the authority of your center, because you are not unconditionally free at that moment. So automatically you become the authority. So this both the things are to be seen at a deeper level. And in my views, in as far as the worldly affairs are concerned, there are no such thing like unconditional freedom or unconditional authority. There will always be some authority will be there. Yes, but you have to understand the total structure of authority and freedom, and one has to go beyond it or transcend it. Then there will be a state available to him which is free from this issue of authority and the freedom. That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh.
What Dubey sir has to say and Harshad sir has to say on this.
I totally agree with you, but I want to just add something, that authority alone cannot be studied. You must understand authority, power, and status. That is very, very important, because Krishna used to say that Indian mind is authority bound, because we accept authority because it's so easy to do it. Somebody tells me to do something and I do it. I don't apply my mind. It's easy life, whether it is in office or at home. uh, You don't have to think about anything. Somebody tells you and you obey. So these things should be studied together in detail, as you yourself said. It has to be seen deeply. And one thing I want to say, that when Krishna talks freedom, freedom cannot go without order. I can't do anything that, uh, I can't say that, well, I'm free, I'll do whatever I want to do, whether it's a house or in a classroom or in office or whatever. So freedom must go with order. That is very important. So they should be studied together. Then we will understand what freedom is. And uh, I beg to differ with you that it's true that we are all conditioned. Does it mean that we should not study these things? Or should we come to a state of totally unconditioned mind, then only I will study this? I remember a talk in Rajghat where Krishna was talking about anger, and a teacher said, "Sir, how can I see anger, because I get angry myself?" He said, "That is the time you have to see anger. That is the time you have to see anger, when you get angry. So be alert, watch what brings anger in you. Anger is not different from what you are." So these things are, I mean, it's a very short video. He talked about so many things in 20 minutes. So one has to go really deeper to understand what he's talking about. And as you have yourself said, these things need deeper inquiry, deeper study. So there I agree with you. Yes, Mr. Ramarao. We can't hear you, sir. There's no sound.
Now? Hello.
There's no sound. Yes. There is a
Hello?
feeble sound.
Yeah.
Now it is okay?
Raise your voice a little bit, maybe.
It's okay, sir, now?
We can hear you, yeah, but very feeble.
Sir, it seems to me everything is related to other. So when there is an influence to one,
A little louder, sir, please.
sir,
I
it
think he's
seems
not
to,
able to make it louder, Sushilji.
yeah, it's a fact.
Some problem with his audio, yeah.
May
Go
I
ahead
say
and
something? May I say something?
yes, please. Please do that.
May I say something? Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, sir.
Yes. If a person is confused and he doesn't accept any authority, he doesn't go to any person who can help him, he can become even worse. And it requires some kind of maturity not to accept any authority. So many people went to Krishnaji, you see in commentaries on living, and they wanted help from Krishnamurti. And Krishnamurti talked with them, asked questions. So Krishnamurti was helping these people who had different kinds of problems. So a teacher, a good teacher, who is very gentle, who can listen, and who has a clarity, can help. So one should not reject authority. If a person is confused, maybe he needs help. And if he says, because Krishnaji says, don't accept authority, he doesn't accept authority, he may even become worse. So help is available, and it requires a good teacher, a good listener who can really understand. And a person who has understood himself very well and who has love, compassion, good qualities can help other people. If the listener is good and the speaker is also very good. Okay, I have finished.
Thank you, Harshad. Thank you. Shakti ji, please unmute yourself. Shakti ji. I think Shakti ji is not there.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
I further would like to submit that, see, we are not Krishnamurti. We are having our family and all that. So our liability, whatever liabilities we are having because of family and because of our earlier choices in the past, those automatically becomes authority. My liabilities automatically becomes authority on me, isn't it, sir? That also we have to see. So circumstances and the whatever situation is there, that automatically becomes the authority. That also we have to keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Arun Partha, please unmute yourself.
Hello. Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Please put the video on.
Video next time, sir, surely.
Okay.
Because I've got a beard and all, I didn't like it.
Okay.
Sorry. So actually, from this video, what I could really sense out is like, we have a lot of this psychological weaknesses. Like we feel we are not able to face any situations which are very challenging because of the we have our own fears and sorrows and all that. But if you look at it from this video, what I could get is like even this sense of looking for freedom and authority, our self has a kind of weakness. So we again try to strengthen that by looking for something else like freedom and authority. So I'm not able to really understand exactly like how do you have the psychological strength, but at the same time without the self longing for it, like because Krishna ji also puts somewhere that the self is not that, self is not that. So who really gets the psychological strength to, and I think I'm confused, but I mean, like, see, psychological weakness is there, that's why we go in for a lot of things, but even when we look in for strengthening through freedom and authority, that also strengthens the self only, so is there anything called psychological strength at all, like how to live our day-to-day living? That's my question.
Harshad, you want to comment on this?
Yeah, I would not say it is psychological strength, but a curiosity to understand if you are suffering from some problem like anger or fear or jealousy, and if you feel that this is really making you very unhappy, and you want to really go to the root of understanding how it is arising, and then you have the energy to look how it is arising. When anger is arising, is it possible to look? That determines whether you uh, find some solution in this field. People who are very curious, very attentive, and they feel that this is the most important thing, understanding oneself more than earning lot of money or becoming famous with power and all that. If this is the priority in your life, want to be really free from the burden which you are carrying. And many people even don't know that they are carrying the burden, and they think that it is all right. Everybody has problem, and I have also problem. So it is all right. But only when this problem goes away, when a person is able to look very clearly, then a person comes to know that there were many problems. So everything depends on your own curiosity and priority in your life. If this is very important, your mind will naturally go to that place where it is deeply interested. So if some people are interested in football or films, fashion, then when they have free time, they will be involved in entertainment. But if in your free time you like to sit quietly and look how your mind is working, from where these thoughts are arising, and you just want, not that you want to become free, you are just curious, then it becomes very interesting, and it becomes kind of an entertainment too, because your thoughts are continuously changing, and it is wonderful to watch, and it gives you a direct insight into your own mind, and that gives you some kind of authenticity to speak about these problems. So just reading somebody like Krishnamurti, listening is not enough. One has to experiment, watch oneself, be quiet, be alone, and uh, turn the attention inward and not escape from one's own self. Because generally, we don't like to sit alone, we don't like to look inward, we like to keep on doing something, occupy ourselves with some activities, and even reading Krishnamurti can become an activity, and one can gather a lot of knowledge, but that knowledge doesn't help as long as we really don't look uh, clearly within our own mind. And even if some problems are arising, we can just watch and not escape from this problem. Then we can really go to the root. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Harshad. Thank you. I think it's important to know that if something is affecting us, do I really want to see it? Am I really interested to find out why is this to me? If it is, then we'll go deeper into it. Then only one turns inwards. Normally it happens when there is a sorrow. So maybe sorrow is a good point to start with. Otherwise, life goes on as it is. Yes,
Can
Verma
I
sir,
make
please.
any?
Just
Can
just
I
a
make a
minute.
comment on this?
Maybe just let's wait. Let's hear Verma ji, and then you can say what you want to say. Yes, Verma ji, please.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will share what happened to me when I saw and listened to the images presented in these short videos with lovely interludes. First thing is seeing, I was one with the eternal flow and its music, the magical water changing its ways, changing the time battered stones, effortlessly on the way back home. Another remarkable I could see in short videos is the fire and passion of Krishnamurthy in sharing his lessons on life, interspersed with humor. Another thing, talking about freedom, it is good to have a fresh look at my freedom. It is good to have a fresh look at my freedom, which still longs for freedom. Fresh look is in, no words are required. Then awareness, one has to be sensitive enough to listen to the gentle signals of natural awareness. My mental noise usually is of higher intensity that covers the soft signals of awareness. Authority, I only authored a desire-based and imagining authority. I only authored desire-based and imaginary authority out of me and started worshipping that like self-created gods. Waited impatiently in psychological time, the returns of this investment. The arrow came back to me, a different shape after getting beatings head on, shouting, back to you, back to you. Thank you very much. Thank you for time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Dinesh ji, please go ahead.
Sir, this Arun Parth's comment or question, on that I would like to say that suppose I have to go to New York out of India and I don't have any support, then I immediately require strength. And my brother comes and he tells me that don't worry, my one of my friend is there and he will help you if in case of any problem. I immediately, whether I take help from him or not, that's immaterial. But immediately I get the strength. Similarly, I want to appear in any exam and I don't get the confidence in me whether I will clear it or not. And somebody comes and just tells me that you just read this book and you will get the confidence in this. So such things supports me. So such strengths are required from time to time and in the various matters. And we get the help from the such thing and we get the strength. So this is a common phenomena. That's what I want to submit.
Sir, would you please read comment by Shakti ji and we'll comment on it. Shakti ji has commented on notebook. Please see.
I'll read it. But a word on what Dinesh ji just mentioned. I think in the physical world, what you said is all right. But I think we are discussing here about the psychological domain, not the physical world. That has to be.
But the problem was psychological, sir. No, I am not getting the strength. That is the psychological problem.
I know.
So all the psychological problems are emerging from your routine works and this thing. No routine issues.
I think we have to see that. We have to see that this
yes,
is
yes,
definitely. Shakti ji has made a comment. I'll just read it because he has problem with his mobile. Usually when we doubt something, we are somewhat rejecting it. Whereas when we neither believe nor reject, we can test out a statement freely. K also invites us to doubt our own experience. To keep testing out is important. Thank you, Shakti ji. Thank you. We'll go to Mr. Rajendran. Yes, sir. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, good evening to everyone. Just I want to answer my young friend, Mr. Arun Partha. So he asked a very genuine, practical difficulty. Yeah, that is how to get the psychological strength. Who is seeing the weakness? Psychologically, who is weak? And who is seeking the strength? That is also the same me. So the me wants to get freedom from whom? From itself. The observer is always there. So who wants strength? The observer sees, oh, I am weak, I want strength. When the me and the observer is not there, is there any psychology? Is there any psychological field? So realizing who is asking for the strength, to see who is asking the strength itself and aware of that itself will give the will definitely helping to so I want a psychological strength to understand it. That is an ambition, that is a motive. Who is asking? The same observer, the stupid fellow, the me, the self, the illusory self. To realize that will give the true strength. So that is passion. When Krishna is talking with so much of passion, are we listening to him with at least 1% of that passion? So that is to be aware who is asking demanding the psychological strength. Who is that ambitious fellow? The observer is still there. So to be aware of that will give the real strength. One more thing, I just want to humbly submit to our respected Harshad boy when he told helping. Whether Krishnamurti, when people went and asked Krishnamurti for help, what way he helped, whether helping is an authority, he helped out of compassion and love. Whether compassion and love are authority, definitely how Krishnamurti would have helped those people who went to him for help, definitely he would have told them, don't accept any authority. To see yourself. Hashtag boy rightly said, experiment it, test it, investigate it. So Krishnamurti would have definitely helped those people to see, to be a light to themselves, to get some clarity. So that helping has then is not an authority, it is love and compassion, and love and compassion is not purely an authority. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. May I make a comment?
Yes, please.
Yes. A good teacher like Krishnamurti can create also an environment in which listener can be silent and listen, like how hundreds of people were listening so quietly when Krishnamurti was speaking. So a good teacher definitely affects listeners, and then it depends on the sensitivity or attention of the listener. And sometimes a listener can listen in perfect harmony without effort, then something new happens in the life of the listener, and then that listener may not need help anymore, and the person, that listener, can begin to see for himself or herself what is happening in his or her mind. So a teacher can really help, and Buddha and many other great people, they have helped, they were able to help some few people who were sensitive and receptive to what the teachers were talking about. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Harshad bhai. Anand ji wants to say something. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. I mean, somewhere I read long time back, sir. Even if God comes and helps you, it says it has been said it's useless. You have to do it yourself. That is what I was going to understand. And again, I'm not sure where I read this. If God appears before you, he says, question him, doubt what you're seeing and in front of you. Very long back, I had come across this. And again, what is essential, what Krishnamurti says is, intelligence begins with doubt. See, if I see my conditioning from my childhood days, I find there is authority, my father, my mother, my brothers, my sisters, my uncles, then the school, and you have seniors in school who know, I mean, they are your authority, and teachers and things like that. my life continues. Okay, I never question. I was never allowed to question. I always look for the answers. Can I see that is very essential? No, why I believe in authority even today. Now, when Krishnamurti talks about authority and then the fear out of it, it's again, it comes to the same thing. Because that gives me, that authority gives me security. Can I see that is a question? Then when you talk about freedom, again, I need to understand what freedom means. What is Krishnamurti saying about freedom? Freedom again means responsibility. Like Indian Constitution also says freedom and responsibility go together. Without responsibility, there's no freedom. Then again, how do I understand what is responsibility? To know what responsibility is, one has to be sensitive. Krishnamurti has put in different words in this video, but it means sensitivity, caring, affectionate, loving, compassion. Without that, there is no freedom. I can't do what I want. I have to be responsible for all my actions. So can I see that how my conditioning is playing a role? That's all. I need to observe it. I'm not here to tell anybody else. How quickly I am here to tell everyone how we should go about. What Krishna ji is saying or Krishna ji is not saying. Krishna K himself said, please, he said, you can't understand me. You're interpreting whatever I say. He said, I'm acting as a mirror to you. I am not speaking. You have to look into that mirror and you see that you're speaking to yourself. We don't seem to understand what he means by the mirror. All the time we quote Krishnamurti. And he says, we need a teacher. Look at my own confusion. He says, don't make me a teacher, but we're all here to make him a teacher. Can I see the, what kind of a situation I am caught in? I quickly come out with answers. Do I really listen to what is being said? When he talks about freedom, when he talks about authority, when he also talks about care and affection, can there be freedom without being, if I'm irresponsible, if I don't care, if I'm insensitive? Is there a freedom? We have to look at it, sir, holistically. What is happening out there is happening in here. I need to look in here. When I look in here or look out there, I need to see. It's not that I have to see clearly or not clearly. I don't see at all. Can I look at that is what is essential, sir. I keep saying I have to look clearly or to see properly. That's what I keep saying. Well, what is it seeing properly? There's nothing to see properly. The moment I see, there's an interpretation of what I'm seeing. Can I observe? That is the question, sir. Over.
Thank you, Anandji.
May I make a comment?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Harshad bhai, please go ahead.
Okay, yes, it reminds me of one saying in Zen Buddhism that when you ask a question, all you get is an answer. But when a question is very genuine, and then what happens is one is able to be silent and look and not trying to find answer, but see after that question, what happens is very, very important. And somebody can answer, but that doesn't mean much. That may not really help. But when I can observe after asking if the question has come naturally, and it is very, very important question, then my mind will become very silent and I will be looking. And even there may not happen anything. Answer may not come, but it will not make you restless. You will just keep on looking. So that looking is very, very important. After asking, after a question comes, genuine, important question comes to you, then what happens after that is very, very important. What is the state of the mind which is looking? Okay, I finish.
Thank you, Harshad bhai. Thank you. Anandji wants to say something. Please unmute yourself.
So what I observe is Indore people don't get muted after they speak. All their mics will be more or less. I don't know why I get muted. Anyway, that's a different thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say.
Let me explain. We mute it because, too many people unmuted creates lots of disturbance. So immediately after somebody has finished, we try and unmute them.
I'm sure it can go by turns, sir. I find all the time myself, they mute me. Anyway, that's a different issue. All right. So the question is, can I see that I'm with my positive assertions all the time? Can I look at that every time I'm being positive about it? Can I see that? There's a motive, there's a conclusion. Again, can I see that I'm asserting? When I say, when Kate talks about doubt, I don't agree. It's not agreeing and disagreeing. It is not K who's saying that again. Again, I say K says I doubt it. Again, I'm back to the same thing. How do I understand, sir, that when K is saying, I'm repeating the same thing, that he says I'm acting as a mirror? Why do I keep saying K and I keep repeating I say K is a teacher? Why? He says don't, but I keep repeating it. So my point is, I normally, I wouldn't want to say that, but can you observe that you have become an authority when you say that? Can I look at that as a question, sir? Over.
Thank you, Anand. Yes, Dinesh ji. Unmute.
Sir, listening to all this, once again, I would like to go to the basics. Why we are having this dialogue on Sunday and Thursday? In my views, we are not Krishnamurti. And when I observe that my all conditioning are not useless. Again, if we consider the horizontal field, again, there is conditioning and there is a polarity of conditioning and no conditioning. The fact of my life is that there are good conditioning, or we can say that there are conditionings which are managing my life. So I have to see this. I have to understand the structure of conditioning. Not I can reject all the conditioning straight away and say that I will just be free of all my conditioning. Yes, what he is suggesting, JK, you put aside the conditioning, and as Harshad sir said, see in a fresh way the things, and you remain in the moment, and you see whether the conditioning, whatever comes afterwards in your mind or in your thought, whether they are appropriate or not. And that's what I think he says of by the right thinking he means. So we have to see all this. And since we are not Krishnamurti, we are again and again talking about the same things because we want to see again and again, because there is a difference between us and Krishnamurti. What Harshad sir and Dubey sir has to say on this?
And I fully agree that none of us are Krishnamurti and we are not enlightened. And this forum is purely to share our understanding of what Krishna has written. That is all. Nobody is an authority and nobody claims to be an authority. I think the moment one says that I am the one who knows, then I think he is most ignorant. So I think we are all trying to learn, see things in our own way. And Krishna is on record saying that about people who have been with him for 40 years, that none of them had the foggiest idea what I'm talking about. But that was about people who were with him. This may not be true of many people who are outside that group. There are people who have seen reality, have seen truth, and you can see them in their daily life that they behave entirely in a different way than most of us do. That's the way things are. So this forum is basically to share our understanding. That is all. I don't think there is any reason beyond this. We'll
So
have the last word.
Next Sunday, sir, lecture on next Sunday.
Let's hear one more question. I think Mr. Rajendran wants to say something. And
then I wanted to say something, sir. Yes. If he is allowed, yes, I am also allowed. Yes. Rajendran, please, Rajendran.
No, with respectfully, Mr. Jain, sir, you please proceed. I will follow it.
Okay, Jain sir, go ahead.
Sir, authority which blocks is to be left behind. self-authority always blocks you. Outside authority, traffic authority, other authority helps to bring order in society. Here, Krishnamurti becomes authority in everybody in a different way. We have to check that he should not become authority in ourselves. Just see this, whether it blocks us or it gives freedom to us. You will know what is happening. Number of times you are comparing, number of times you are saying, you are bringing things of the worldly things and other things. It has got nothing to do with that, as far as me thinks. So next Sunday lecture, please declare.
Hello,
I
sir.
think
May I add just one sentence, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, we are often hearing people say, we are not Krishnamurti, and I have a family. Krishnamurti was a bachelor. Why we are comparing? Krishnamurti told it is possible for everybody. He is not a superhuman. Why we have to put him on a pedestal and worship? He is a great person. Is it not an escape to continue to be mediocre and a second-hand human being? So by comparing, always telling we are not Krishnamurti, we are not. So we want to continue as a second-hand human being and a mediocre person. Are we? Is it an escape? So we have to be. I just want to alert the people. So I am not coming to any conclusion. I just want to alert. There is a catch is there. Let's not. Let's not say the put Krishnamurti on a pedestal and worship. We did all the gurus, all the teachers. We did the same thing. Let's not do it for Krishnamurti also. Okay. Last thing, my great gratitude to this Indore group who is organizing these excellent sessions. I'm actually today I'm leaving from US. For last 6 months, I was joining your meeting. So Mr. Sushil Kumar Jain and Mr. Dubey and Mr. Kamlesh, you and all other people, you guys are doing, you gentlemen are doing excellent job in conducting these meeting regularly and very disciplinedly. You are meeting all the persons. That is a very good thing you are doing. I really support it. That is why there is a discipline and decorum is there. So really hats off and my pranam to all the people with a lot of gratitude. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll have the last word from Prasad, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, firstly, I am a little sorry for having waited till the end. Anyway, I will close very shortly. Somebody has asked what is the self? That is the first question. For that, Krishnaji himself has answered it. It is our past. For each person has his own past or her own past. And that past is the self. Because everything, all our responses are determined by our past experience, past conditioning, etc. Number one. Number two, the entire gist of Krishnamurti's this film is we bow down before authority. And why do we do that? That is because we seek comfort. More than truth, we seek comfort. We are not really in search of truth. We are in search of comfort and security. And he himself has said, you are, your response is not there. That is, your response will be sufficient and total only when you meet it without fear, without seeking pleasure, without your condition. Most of our responses are determined by our past, by our prejudices, etc. So that is the gist of it is why we are so tradition bound. What is the freedom he has said? It is total emptying of the your contents of the consciousness. That is freedom. When you are full of some tradition, however mighty it is, coming from Buddha or Christ or whatever, that is not freedom. You are taking shelter behind Christ or behind Buddha because you are in search of comfort and security. And by throwing responsibility on the authority of Buddha, on the authority of Shankara or Christ, you are freeing yourself. I am not responsible. He is responsible for whatever happens to me. So, responsibility is only, you have to take the responsibility. And that can happen only when you reject authority. And doubt, he said, is a healthy thing. Skepticism is good. And he also said, don't doubt everything. Doubt with a light hand, with a quick mind. That is how he said. That is the exploratory method. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prasad sir. Thank you. I think we come to the close of this session now. And next Sunday, we have Clemens Petter. She will be talking on teachings in daily life. So please do join us next Sunday at 11 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Dubey.
Thank you.
Very
Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody. Thanks to everybody. Kamlesh, please close.
Thank you.
Please close.